Human Health and Disease. We are dealing with the unit number 3, Biology and Human Welfare. So under this unit, we are discussing about human health and diseases. So first of all, we'll discuss about what is pathogenicity or what is virulence. So in the previous class, try to recall, we have learned about pathogens. So what are pathogens? Any disease-causing organisms or germs, they are known as pathogens. So those pathogens usually enters our body from the surrounding environment. Yeah. So now, whenever the pathogens enters our body, we will suffer from serious types of diseases or disorders. So over here, we'll first look over the term what is pathogenicity or what is virulence. Yeah. So diseases in our body or disorders in our body is simply caused by the pathogens. So whenever the pathogens enters our body, we will suffer from a particular disease or a disorder. Yeah. So that disease or disorder generally appears in our body when the pathogens destroys our red blood cells or white blood cells. Yeah, so pathogens usually destroys our blood cells. Number 2, it may destroy the cells of our body tissues. Keep in mind, first of all, those pathogens, when it enters our body, it will destroy the blood cells, RBC or WBC. WBC provides body immunity, you know that. Number 2, it will destroy the cells of other tissues. And number 3, we can say that it will produce the toxins, the harmful chemical substances. Yeah? Or it can enter during the food material. So overall we can say that whenever the pathogens enter our body, we, the host, will suffer from a disorder or a disease. Yeah. So remember, it may cause disorder by destroying the blood cells or cells of any other tissues by using the food material, and the most important thing, it will produce the toxins. Yeah. So what are toxins? They are harmful chemical substances or the poisonous substances which are released by the pathogen once they enter our body, and those toxins will travel from one part of the body to the other part of the body and bring damages to the cells of the tissue. Yes, so what are toxins? They are the harmful chemical substances which are produced by the pathogen once they enter our body, and those released toxins will travel from one part of the body to the other part and causes the damage to the cells of the tissue part of the body. Yeah. Now, the degree of pathogenicity or virulence, it depends on two factors or the two aspects. And what are these two factors which mainly determine the degree of virulence? Number 1 is the property of the pathogen to invade the body of the host. That means how the pathogens are able to enter the host body. That is called invasiveness, or the ability of the pathogenic organisms to successfully invade the host body. How are they able to enter within the host body? That is the first factor that determines the degree of virulence. And the second aspect or the factor is toxicity, or the ability of the pathogens to produce toxins. So the ability of the pathogenic organism to produce toxins which damage the host tissues. So these are the two important factors which determines the virulence of pathogenic organisms. So I will declare for you what is pathogenicity or virulence, what do you mean by toxins, and what are the two factors that determines the degree of virulence. Now, next class. Now, mode of causing disease by pathogens. What are the different modes by which disease are caused by the pathogens? First of all, by tissue damage. Alright, so whenever the pathogens enter our body, it will damage the host body tissues or the cells of the tissue. So first one, by tissue damage. Now certain pathogens produces disease by damaging tissues. Clearly note it down. Certain pathogens, once they enter our body, they may directly attack the host tissues, the host body tissues. So for example, there are certain disorders or diseases where the host body tissues are damaged. For example, like in case of tuberculosis, the mycobacterium tuberculosis that causes tuberculosis, it damages the cells and causes lesions in the lungs. That is, over here, the cells of the lungs will be damaged. Blood oozes from lesions into the alveolar sac, into the alveoli, leading to hemorrhage. Meningitis means inflammation of the brain. Remember in class 10, where the bacteria attack the protective membrane of the brain, that is meningitis. Poliovirus damages motor nerve cells of spinal cord. So over here we can see that the pathogens are damaging the host body tissues or the cells of the tissues. Next one, by toxin secretion. So number 2 mode of causing disease or pathogens is by producing toxins, the harmful chemical substances. Yeah, so mainly toxins are of 2 types, endotoxins and exotoxins. Clear? Toxins are of 2 types, endotoxins and exotoxins. So endotoxins, which are released when bacteria die and disintegrate. So endotoxins. So these are the toxins which are released by the bacteria or by the pathogens only when they die. Clear? So when the bacteria die, then endotoxins will be released. The disease caused by the endotoxins are typhoid fever, cholera, bubonic plague, and dysentery. Now what do you mean by exotoxins? These are released as soon as produced. Kindly remember the difference between endo and exotoxins. Endotoxins are released by the bacteria when they will die and disintegrate. But exotoxins, they are released as soon as they are produced by the bacteria or by the pathogens. So exotoxins causes diseases like diphtheria, tetanus, food poisoning, and botulism. So these are the mode of causing diseases by the pathogens. There are 2 modes. Remember, 1 by damaging the tissues, and number 2 by producing the toxins. And toxins are of 2 types, endotoxins and exotoxins. Endotoxins are produced when the bacteria die and disintegrate, and exotoxins are those toxins which are released as soon as they are produced. Clear? Now, next one. What are the causes of a disease? Alright, how does the host or the body of the individuals will show the symptoms of a disease? So let's go through the cause of a disease. So whenever the pathogens enter the body of a host, they will rapidly multiply in number. One more time. Whenever the pathogens or the microbes enter the body of the host, they will rapidly multiply. And they will produce enough toxins to make the symptoms of the disease appear. So one more time. So first of all, the microbe needs to enter the body of the host, and after entering the body of the host, they will rapidly multiply in number and they will produce the toxins. And the toxins will be produced in enough amount so that the host will show the symptoms of the disease. Clear? Now, as soon as the pathogen enters the body of the host will not show the symptoms of the disease. So a particular time interval is there. Alright, there's a gap in between the entry of the pathogen and the appearance of the symptom of the disease. So this particular gap or the time period between the entry of the germs or the pathogens and the appearance of the symptoms of the disease is known as incubation period. This period, incubation period, where the pathogen needs to enter the body of the host, they have to multiply in number, they have to produce the toxins, enough toxins, and finally those toxins which are produced by the pathogens will be able to trigger the symptoms of the disease. And that particular time interval is known as incubation period. Clear? Now, this incubation period can be, usually it can be for 24 hours, up to a week, up to a month. Okay? Now, the disease becomes more severe with the release of more toxins. So, whenever the amount of toxin keeps on increasing within the body, the severity of it is also increases. The body systems now becomes active and the disease may follow one of the two courses. This is very, very important. So whenever the amount of toxins keeps on increasing in the body, the severity of it is also increases. Clear? And at that time, our body immune system will come into action. It will respond to those diseases, to those toxins. Now when the body immune system will come into action, the diseases may follow one of the two courses. Now what are those two courses when the body immune system come into action? So the diseases or those pathogens or the microbes may overcome the body defense. That means the pathogens will be able to resist the immune system of the body. They will overcome the host immune system and the victim dies. Whenever the pathogens or the microbes will overcome the body immune system, then the degree of severity of disease keeps on increasing and ultimately the victim dies. Or number two, the disease or the microbes will not be able to overcome or they will not be able to resist the body immune system. Clear? That means our immune systems will work against the pathogens. So over here, our body immune system is above the pathogens. They are not letting the pathogens to overcome it. Okay, so in this case, what is that? The body system may overcome the pathogens and the patient usually recovers. So here you can see the two causes of disease. So when the body immune system comes into action, number one, the individuals may die. Why? Because the pathogens may overcome the body immune system. They can resist the body immune system. The severity of disease keeps on increasing and the patient dies. Or number two, the individuals who are suffering from those invading pathogens, they will survive, they will recover. How? Because their body immune system will be so much strong that it will overcome the invading pathogens or the microbes. And therefore he or she will recover. So these are the two courses of the disease. Yeah. Now, sometimes the body resistance and the virulence of the infected microbes are balanced. So over here the body systems, body defense mechanisms and the invading microorganisms, their particular virulence or degree of pathogenicity will be in a proper balanced state. In such cases, that means when it will be balanced, so in such cases the microbes stay alive but will fail to produce the disease. So in this case, what is that? When they are in a balanced state, the microbes or the pathogens will not die, they will survive, they will live, but the microbes will not be able to show the symptoms of the disease. So such a person is called a carrier and transmit the disease to the resistant person. So those individuals will be a carrier of the pathogens and will transmit the pathogen from one individual to another individuals, or to those individuals whose body immune system will be very, very weak. Clear? So these are the course of diseases. Now, from your textbook, kindly go to the table number 8.4 and go with this table where you will find the different types of communicable diseases. Communicable disease means infectious diseases can be transmitted from one individual to another individuals. So kindly go through it, and in that particular table we can see the types of diseases: viral disease, rickettsial disease, bacterial disease, protozoal disease, helminth disease, and the fungal disease. So kindly go through the table number 8.4 and remember the name of the type of diseases, the name of the causative agents, clear? And the example of the diseases which are caused by the viruses, alright, which are caused by the bacteria, which are caused by protozoa, by fat forms and monoforms, and by the fungi. Clear? So kindly go to table number 8.4. Now, we will go through the study of the communicable diseases. So communicable diseases are studied under the following heads. So what we have to remember when we are going to study about the infectious diseases. First, remember the pathogen, or the name of the causative agent that causes a particular diseases. Number 2, mode of infection or mode of transmission. How are those pathogens transmitted from one individual to another individual? Number 3, symptoms of the disease. You have to remember the symptoms of the disease. Number 4, prophylaxis and control, that is preventive measures. Alright, how we can prevent the transmission of diseases or the transmission of pathogens. And over here you can remember, or you can put the point like isolation, disinfection, sanitation, education, eradication of vector, and vaccination. So these are the different topics which we have to remember when we study the different types of communicable diseases. So first of all, today we will learn about the diseases that are caused by the viruses. So over here we will talk about those diseases that are caused by virus, like common colds, dengue, and chikungunya. Clear? So first of all, we will learn about common cold, because each and every one of us which suffer from the common cold. So first of all, remember the name of the causative agent that causes common cold is mainly caused by a virus, or differentiation of virus called the rhinovirus. And remember, the causative agent that causes common cold is simply a viral disease which is caused by the strains or the subtypes of rhinoviruses. Remember the causative agent. So these viruses infect the nose and the respiratory passage, but not the lungs. So the causative agent is rhinoviruses. Symptoms: nasal congestion, discharge, cough, hoarseness, sore throat, headache, tiredness. Very easy. Infection: it spreads from discharge of nose, sneeze of an infected person inhaled by other individuals directly or touching the contaminated objects such as utensils, pens, books, doorknobs. So it's communicable. It can be transferred from an infected individual to a healthy individual. Treatment occurs in epidemic form. There is no treatment, and it subsides in 3 to 7 days. So here our body immune system has to be very strong to overcome the common cold disease caused by rhinovirus. So it will be easier for you. So can I go through? Number 2, dengue, which is mainly caused by a virus. Alright, but over here the virus is mainly transmitted from one individual to another individual by the bite of Aedes mosquito. So dengue fever is also a viral-borne disease, and over here it is switched from one infected individual to another healthy individual by the bite of an Aedes mosquito. Clear? Now, dengue virus is single-stranded RNA virus of genus Clavivirus. So this dengue virus belongs to the genus Clavivirus. Remember, clear? Occurrence. It become a global problem. It's endemic in more than 110 countries. Alright, mainly in India. In the year 1966, it became pandemic. So mainly in Delhi and surrounding areas, it mainly in the year 1966. Symptoms: it mainly varies from one individuals. The children typically have a mild illness with a low fever, fatigue, running nose, cough. This is more severe in adults, alright, with fever, headache, severe body ache, and there is so much of like joint pain or body pain. That's what's also called breakbone fever. Okay, some people develop bleeding from the nose, mouth, and tract. Usually after second infections. So it is also called hemorrhagic fever. Sometimes the blood vessels like fluids into the lungs, causing difficulty in breathing. Treatment or prevention, there is no vaccine available till now. Prevention requires the control and eradication of the Aedes mosquito that causes the dengue fever. So simply over here we have to control the multiplications or the number of mosquitoes that mainly transmit the dengue virus, which causes the dengue. The last disease which is caused by the virus is the chikungunya. Alright, also a viral disease is also transmitted by the mosquito Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. So here also you have to remember the name of the vector, you can say, which will carry the particular pathogens that cause chikungunya. So here we are fighting two mosquitoes, Aedes aegypti and the Aedes albopictus. So these are the two mosquitoes which belong to the same genus Aedes. Clear? Now, symptoms. What are the symptoms of chikungunya? High fever followed by headache, vomiting, photophobia. What is photophobia? Photo means light, phobia means fear, fear of light. Joint pain, swelling and rashes. Alright. So after effect will be joints swelling. There will be enough pain for 1 or 3 weeks, depending on the age of the patient. Alright. There will be arthritis. Because of arthritis, the patient develops stiff posture. This is also called bent up disease. Treatment, no specific treatment, but a few drugs can be given, like paracetamol, diclofenac sodium, and chloroquine. This can be really given to those individuals suffering from chikungunya. Prevention control, remove all the water containers where the mosquitoes can usually multiply. Cover all the water containers with cloth, including the cement, tubes, drains, vessels. This will prevent mosquitoes laying of eggs and hence mosquito breeding. So kindly go through the 3 types of diseases which are caused by the virus. Common cold, clear, which you have to learn. Number 2, dengue and chikungunya. So remember the name of the causative agent, the mode of transmission, clear, symptoms of the disease and the preventive measures. So next diseases which are caused by bacteria, they are caused by the protozoans which are in the